Hello, welcome. If you don't know who I am or don't recognize this face, my name is Annalicia, and on this YouTube channel, I go by Love in Motion. Typically, on my YouTube channel, I like to talk about self-awareness, self-growth, self-actualization, and self-empowerment. Today is absolutely no different, so let's get into it. Yeah. So today I will be ranting on my Unhinged Soliloquy about how a relationship I had when I was a teenager has completely derailed my 20s as a 29-year-old woman who has now been a decade out of said relationship. So obviously there's going to be a few warnings here. My cat is playing with a bell, so if you hear that, I'm real sorry. We're going to try to edit that out. But I do want to offer a few trigger warnings. Obviously, if DV is triggering to you, if ending your own life is triggering to you, mental health things is triggering to you, please click off of this video. I don't want to trigger anyone. I just want to be here sharing my story, connecting with other people who may have similar experiences, and just sharing how I have navigated my life through with the things that I have been through. So I really wanted to make this video obviously in October when it was DV Awareness Month. However, life just kind of did not allow for that to happen. Every time I sat down and tried to record this video last month, it just was not going. I didn't know the words to say. I didn't know how I wanted to come at the situation because I do feel like it was one of the most pivotal things that have happened to me in my life. The most impactful things that have happened in my life and has completely changed the trajectory of who I am. And while I am very grateful for where I am at and I am very happy to be the person that I am, I do still have deep sorrow for the person I could have been if certain things had not happened to me, which was this relationship. I hold and have held on to things very tightly, and I am learning to detach from those kinds of things. And I did live a life where I was so attached to this thing that had happened to me that I let it eat away at me. I also allowed it to um, almost eat me alive in the sense that my cat is being crazy. Ivy, I don't want to say that I really resonated with being a victim, but I do think that it took me a lot of time to heal from said situation. And while I have always had a great strength within me, it does not mean that my life wasn't more complicated because of the situation. So I just want to give a brief backstory because while it is important, the DV situation of it all, I don't want to fully get into details about like everything that happened to me. I do have other videos where I completely describe different things and how that impacted me and what happened. I've been very open about my experience, but um, I do want to um, kind of briefly talk about, you know, the actual events, right? So I started dating this person when I was 14 years old, so I was seriously a little girl, and we dated for 4 years on and off until I was about 18, 19 years old. And yeah, it was probably the most influential time to have a relationship like that. He was my first serious relationship. He was really my first everything, and it started off not bad. Like, it was a genuine like puppy love situation, and he had a lot of familial problems at home, and I also had familial problems at home, so we really connected in that way, and were like a support for each other. um and at the time, I think that I was also just deeply insecure, as you are as a teenage girl. And I feel like I always had friends who always had all different kinds of boyfriends, and who was always like boy crazy. And I just felt like I was never chosen, truthfully. Like, I really felt that way. While I did have a lot of boys who were interested in me, I never really paid attention to that attention. I really only paid attention to the people who were not giving me attention, which could be, now that I'm older, I understand that I have anxious attachment. So obviously, people who are more avoidant are more interesting to me. I don't know. Obviously, this relationship, it started off very innocent, very sweet, very what you would expect young people to be dating. I remember we went trick or treating together. Like, we went to the zoo together, like very young people, like, you know, doing things that young people do. Now, we were together for 2 years, and like after about a year, things started to get a little more tumultuous in terms of like we were codependent. I was severely codependent on him, so I don't want to put everything on him, but like I was a very emotional kid, like always very emotional, very like there was also a lot of stuff going on. Like I had a troubled home, like I always had things that were happening. And so he was kind of like my person that I would talk to about it. Like I was dating him and I was homeless. I was living with my friend. Like I was having like real problems as a young person, and I leaned on him a lot. But things got like mentally and emotionally draining and toxic, and things just like started to go really, really left. Some things happened and I started to resent him, and I will take responsibility for like I also didn't know how to act in these things, and I started acting poorly too. And I was not a good partner, right? Like I was a teenage girl, but I really wasn't. Like I switched schools to like be with him, and I ended up breaking up with him, and I started talking to a different boy that he really did not like. But he was like very invasive in my life. Like he was looking up on my like he was logging into my accounts, like very like toxic high school stuff. And I ended up not talking to him for about 5 or 6 months or something like that. And at that point, I'm a senior in high school. I switched back to my old school, and the day that I broke up with him, actually, he tried to harm himself in front of me. And so like I was like very like I cannot go back. Like I cannot go back. I cannot go back. But eventually we started talking again, and biggest regret of my life. Not really, but yeah, we started talking again, and he did not like the fact that I was like experimenting, being a young person, going to parties, and like he was really against drinking. And so I remember came over to his house one night. I snuck in, and I had been drinking, but I wasn't like overly overly doing it. But I went to his house and I snuck in, and I was like laying in his bed and stuff, and like he was like so upset at me, and he was like, I hate that you drink now, like you need to stop doing that, you need to stop partying, like this is not who you are. And like he was like, I don't even know you anymore. And then like it got brought up that I was talking to that other boy, and then one things led to another, and he hit me for the first time, and it never stopped, and it was bad. Like I had so many instances where I was bruised up, like welts on me, huge scratch marks, like very like not cool things. Like he was beating me up essentially. Like every time I seen him, there was a violent occurrence. And I was spending a lot of time with him because I was now transitioning, about to go to college. And we were like on and off because obviously like he was harming me, but I wasn't communicating with anyone what was going on. Two people in my life knew what was going on when it was going on, and it carried on for quite a long time. And um moving forward from said relationship, as I just said, I wasn't going to talk about the details, and I just went into many details about it. But um as I got, away from him because I was going to college, um, I was starting to like have my own life and like try to sort out like who I am and my identity and all that stuff. And, you know, I was still in college when we were still talking. It was my first semester of college, and then my second semester we had stopped communicating because my friend came to me because I was hiding it from everyone that I was still seeing him. And my friend came to me and said, Annalicia, if you do not stop talking to this man, he is going to off you. And she was crying. And that's when I knew that I needed to stop, because I didn't realize the harm that I was causing to anyone other than myself because I was hiding it so much. And I'm so grateful for her. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know who you are if you're watching this video. Love you always. Um, but yeah, so now is my second semester of college, and I'm still figuring myself out. And like, this person really didn't like me experimenting. And so I really started experimenting, like, not like crazy or anything, but I started, going out and stuff like that and trying to numb the pain and all that kind of stuff. Um, and then going into like life, like I started like going to like shows and raving, and it really saved my life. And I'm so grateful that I stumbled upon rave culture. And while there's a lot of toxicity in rave culture, and there's a lot of like misuse of things, and just like really bad like routes that you can take, in a way I do believe it saved my life because I didn't know who I was, and I didn't have any outlet. And so it was like this community that I now had through raving that I don't know that I would have came across if it wasn't for me trying to suppress everything that I was feeling from my past. And like, I was so not okay. I was depressed. I was anxious all the time. I already had an anxiety disorder as a child. And now it just was like so much worse because I had this person who was like reiterating what like my anxiety was telling me, that I wasn't good enough, that I deserved to be harmed, that I deserved to not be here, and was physically showing me that I was not valuable, that I was not a person who deserved or was worthy of a non-toxic love situation. So as I got into rave culture, I really, really started to find things that helped me, like people and making friends, but also like my values. And like, obviously plur is like so silly to like talk about like plur, bleh, right now, peace, love, unity, respect, but those are like the foundational fundamental things that make me who I am. Like peace, love, unity, respect, like that is like what I go out into the world. And like, if you're a part of rave culture, like, this is how we treat each other. Like, I don't really know how to explain what I'm trying to say and how I'm trying to express it, but like, it really saved my life. And I had a place to go. I had, these things. And I also had friends outside of like my rave culture, and like my college friends, my college girlfriends that I'm still friends with to this day. Thank you guys. I love you so much. You have no idea. Thank you for being voices of reason. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for being there. Thank you. But I was still not okay. I was really depressed, and it doesn't help that I was raping and like doing things I probably shouldn't have been doing and messing with my brain chemistry even more. But I do think that it did give me this kind of love um, for dance and for music and for culture and for people. And it's like, not that I didn't have those things before, but um it really highlighted those things for me and my identity. And if it wasn't for all of the things that had happened to me, I don't know that I would have found those things. So I'm grateful because it also gave me one of my greatest hobbies of my life, one of the biggest loves of my life, hula hooping, which ultimately gave me dance because I think that hula hooping allowed me to open myself and my body, and we hold so much trauma in our body. And so I was hula hooping hours at a time, and this hobby, this movement of my body, was allowing me to heal from the things that the pain that I felt, because I've always, always, always felt others' pain, felt my own pain like 3 times harder. I've always had a hard time eh, um managing my emotions because they're so big. And like, I don't want to say this because it sounds so corny, but like my heart is so big. Like I just genuinely want to connect and to love people. And sometimes that really like debilitates me because I want to love so big, and I know I have such a big capacity to love that I know a person who suffered pain. I can see a person who suffered pain from a mile away, and usually the same kinds of pains that I've gone through in my life. And so I want to connect and I want to love those people because in a lot of ways I want to love myself. I want somebody to love me fully and expressively despite the things that I've been through. And so I think that now, like as an older adult, um, that is something that has greatly been a theme, is that I find people who have also been greatly hurt in their life, and I try to help them, love them. And people are saying like, "Oh, you want to fix them," but I don't see it that way. I don't see like, "Oh, I can fix you." I see it as I want to love you enough that you become who you want to be. And I guess maybe that is like wanting to fix people, but I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. I take in stray cats. But they can't be like completely like untreatable. I know I know a treatable versus untreatable cat. But yeah, it has greatly impacted the way that I navigate my life because I was severely mentally ill. Severely mentally ill. And whenever, I don't think I really got over it until I was like maybe 25. Got over it in the way that like I no longer thought about it and ruminated about it and cried in my bed every single day because I felt like I wasn't good enough. That I don't understand why I can't do things, why I'm so sad, why I'm so like not able to fit the mold of everybody else, why I can't be like a functioning person in society because I'm just so sad all the time. I'm just so incapable all of the time. I only have so much capacity, so much capacity. It's a very interesting trajectory because in a lot of ways I'm grateful for my experience because I wouldn't be who I am today. And I am an amazing, loving human being who can see all people and the humanity in them, and I can and I want to be a pillar for good, for light, and I genuinely want to love people. And I don't know that I would be that way if I haven't had an experience so much hurt in my life. But that specific occurrence in my life of having to be in a domestic relationship, um I don't know who I would be. Maybe I would be, in a different point in my life, because I feel like it took me a long time to stop mentally having struggles. And I'm not saying that it's all because of that relationship. Like, I had childhood trauma that was obviously the reason why I got into the relationship and stayed in the relationship and went back to the relationship. Um, because, the things I experienced in my childhood. But if I hadn't had that specific, you know, experience, then I don't know that I would be as sad as I was. I don't know that I would have struggled as much as I did. I don't know that I would have um, felt so lost, so unworthy, so undeserving, so incapable. Like, again, those are like really what that was like reaffirming for me in that relationship. And it took so long to unlearn those things. And especially when it comes to like romantic love, I still struggle. I still have things that like really affect me. Like, I have lifelong things that will still affect me. And I haven't met a partner that was able to be who I needed them to be, and I wasn't able to be the person that they needed to be. So yeah, it's it's so sad. It has completely derailed my life, because if that wouldn't happen, maybe I would have been more well adjusted at a younger age. And I just feel like finally this year is when I really started to actually be better. And it's like, yeah, it's been in increments. Like, every year I get better, every year I get better. But truthfully, 29, 28 is kind of really when I feel the most unimpacted, unattached to what I went through as a teenager. So, if you have had a similar experience, I just want to offer my condolences, but also understanding, because it's not easy and it's not fun, and it's okay that it took you longer to get where you are. And if you're not where you want to be, if you just went through that thing, like, it takes time. And now that I am where I am, I just want to give all of the younger versions of me hugs and reassurance that you can get through it. You deserve to be here. You deserve everything you want in this life. And you will get it. And you will get it, as long as you stay true to who you are in your heart and the things that are important to you.